Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Wednesdays with Larijuana. Every Wednesday, right here on CannaWannaBuy.com, we bring you the latest information on recreational and medical marijuana. This week, we have an article from Marijuana.com, and it's entitled, "Does Smoking Marijuana Concentrates Increase Your Tolerance Level?" One might notice that when they smoke copious amounts of marijuana, that after a time you need to consume more pot in order to offset your increased tolerance level. The other day, a few of my friends and I were sitting around having a conversation about whether or not vaporizing wax, and that's a marijuana concentrate, further increases your tolerance to marijuana. If it does, obviously this would not be a good thing for the old pot budget. While I love the instant elevation of vaporizing concentrates, I also like to smoke my favorite marijuana strains for their flavors or terpenes. It's not that weed alone no longer gets me high, it's just that if I smoke concentrates, I can get to my desired elevation by smoking less combustible medical marijuana. A little dab will do you. By starting off with one or two waxes, butters, or oil dabs, I find that I can reach my desired elevation much more quickly. Then I just take one or more 2 bong hits of good weed, and not just purely for the flavor, rather for the other cannabinoids that are only available within the marijuana flower. The complemented high attained with the combination of marijuana concentrates and flower together provide the ability to access additional cannabinoids, which will give you more of a robust and well-rounded high. When looking at marijuana concentrates, the first thing we notice is that there are many subcategories. Most of your typical marijuana concentrates will fall within 4 classes: hash oil, honeycomb wax, butter, and last but not least, keef. When looking at these 4 subcategories of marijuana concentrates, the one thing that they all have in common is that they are all created by disturbing the cannabinoids, causing them to detach from the plant material. The separation of active cannabinoids from the plant is accomplished with either friction, and that's tumbling the trichomes off, or extracting the active cannabinoids with solvents such as butane. When one listens to medical marijuana patients speak about hitting the nail, it becomes quickly evident that there are many new and different terms used to describe the action of smoking concentrates. All of that aside, most are just different way to vaporize. Not all concentrates are created equal. Waxes are an excellent way to preserve most of the important active cannabinoids provided by a marijuana plant. That being said, be careful. Much of the marijuana concentrates that we see on the shelves today at your local medical marijuana collective is a byproduct of grow room condition issues. As one who speaks with many MMJ patients and growers alike, I cannot begin to remember how many times I have had the conversation with marijuana cultivators whining about the effing spider mites covering my buds, time to whip up some concentrates, or the powdery mildew wiped us out, time to make wax out of it. Due to the greedy nature of this short-sighted thought process, you'll want to make sure that you know who's making the concentrates you're consuming. When purchasing your concentrates from a medical marijuana collective, they may, if they don't already, ask them if they test their products for contaminants. Now, I haven't done too much dabbing in my day, but I did have a chance last week to try a dab. It was maybe the second time I've had it. I took one small dab, and I'll tell you, it really was very effective for about 2.5 hours. Now, there's one more thing I'd like to talk to you about in regards to the testing. There's a company, this is from LeafScience.com, and there's a company that's putting out a handheld device that lets you test and verify your own cannabis. A company out of California wants to put a cannabis testing lab in the hands of every consumer. The team at CDX is trying to solve one of the medical marijuana industry's biggest problems, a lack of product safety regulation. It is not that testing labs don't exist in California and other legal states, but instead that no law requires dispensaries to use them except in Colorado. The solution they've come up with is a handheld device that is slightly larger than an iPhone. It is called MyDX, and utilizes electronic nose technology to analyze samples of anything you want. While the ultimate goal is to allow users to test all that they eat, drink, or inhale, the company is starting out with cannabis in mind. The need is definitely there, says Daniel Yazbek, the main funder of the project. People can take the same strain, same clone, and you won't get the same product depending on the grower and slightly varying conditions, he explains. So, the only way to do this based on the chemicals and not on the name until you get consistency in the industry. MyDX comes with a mobile app that will help consumers track the effects of specific strains. The company also plans to partner with labs across the country in order to leverage lab-verified data. But there's a problem, Yazbek says. The device is expensive and to produce, and most consumers aren't likely to pay more than a couple of $100s for the ability to test their own medicine. That's why the company launched a crowdfunding campaign last month, which has been so far successful at hitting its first target. If all goes well, the company hopes to ship the first batch of MyDX devices by December. Again, that's MyDX, a new portable device as big as an iPhone to help you test your marijuana. So that's it for this week's edition of Wednesdays with Larijuana. We'll be back next week. Don't forget to listen to Medical Marijuana Radio. I'm your host, Larry Love, every Friday and Saturday on the Time for Hemp Global Broadcasting Network and medicalmarijuanaradio.com. Peace and love, everybody. Peace and love. Feel well.